Yeah, I guess the first question is just to learn a bit more about you, like what's your role, your title, like what kind of challenges you're working with or businesses. So learning a little bit more about you would be really interesting.
Yeah, definitely. So background, keen on growth, performance marketing for the last 12 years. I studied in London, though of course I'm not from London. You can tell by the accent. Worked in media agencies like Mindshare, and then I shifted to Amex. I worked there in-house. Then I got a job in Uber in Amsterdam, in the headquarters there for EMEA, and did performance. I think those roles were more like B2C companies, like a lot of driven by performance, very high SEO, organic, like when they got money for, and when they got very heavy investment in offline channels. You never know what's being driven by SEO from your good positioning and what it's it just because you have such a strong brand, it's actually pushing for a lot of traffic. But that's just one part of the sale. Like getting the traffic is one, the other part is getting conversions, which in my opinion is a combination of SEO and CRO, right? So in those companies, my experience with SEO was a lot of connecting SEO traffic with CRO and also deploying a significant amount of content, right? Amex, it's a very big brand. It's a very established brand. It's, in my opinion, the best advertising I've seen, at least from firsthand, and digital marketing. So Amex did a lot of things in order to increase the organic, right? A little beyond what I've seen in the second stage of these last 2 years is when I joined B2B companies. Amex was really good at creating content. They were not pushing the brand so much. They were really thinking of what the users would need. They've taken insight from Johnson and Johnson. Johnson has this baby care website, which is not only about Johnson and Johnson. It's actually really thinking on the customer and what they need. So they could invest in those things. So from an organic perspective, I think they did a really good job there. And Amex did it the same with Travel, right? Like they could actually write about destinations all over the planet and they would have enough money to get really good editorial content and just build that. Big companies will never have that capacity, in my opinion. And then I joined Adyen, which is a payments provider, right? Like big competitor of Stripe.
Yes.
Adyen, when I joined, 800 people. When I left, 4,000. When I joined, the valuation of 8 billion. When I left, valuation of 100 billion. Extremely successful. Very much driven by product. A lot of people talk about product-led growth. I think that Adyen was very much sales-driven, but from an organic perspective, they had a very big team. They were not very technical, but they were really good at developing content. Content is king, yes, definitely. It depends on the product, right? For B2B, audience and content are kings. One thing doesn't disregard the other. Then I joined this company, Wamo, which is a fintech as well, but for small businesses, which makes things a little bit different because when you talk about small businesses, you have a significant higher pool of potential customers. So you can actually do more in organic. Right now, my role is kind of growth, marketing, very focused on acquisition channels. My targets are very clear at the moment, like getting new customers. We're focused on the Italian and the Nordics market. For me, the challenge that we have currently is localization. And from a sales perspective, I think that that's the last channel you optimize towards.
Mm.
And in terms of creating content, we're struggling. You're talking about markets where I feel like we're all going into this mindset of ChatGPT, AI, and so forth. But I feel like companies, this might be an intuition and a little bit of research. AI is replacing a lot of what sales agents are doing because most of the times I feel like sales are just like supporting the onboarding. You know what I mean?
Mm.
Whilst marketing, it's SEO, organic, and content is a bit different.
Yeah.
I try to tell a lot my company, right? Like the same way that you can create a ChatGPT blog post is as fast as Google can check whether it's being created with ChatGPT or not. And
Both
like,
that's for sure.
yeah. But for me, my perspective is localization. Now I'm in market expansion. What I'm struggling a lot is these are very expensive markets. They're very small. Like you don't have a pool of marketeers compared to UK or maybe to Germany. Like Sweden is 11 million people. I wonder if more than 150,000 dedicate themselves to marketing.
Mhm.
That means they're very competitive. It's highly revenue driven, but they drive a high revenue from an organic perspective. Definitely SEO is a challenge in terms of content. The other part is the backlinks. The challenge we have right now from an expansion type of company is that you do not have support so much from a PR perspective. Let's go challenge a local brand. That local brand, most of the times they have very good referrals, like domains, I don't know,
Mhm.
from media. When you talk to the PR with them, they cover you, but they don't put your link, they don't put your URL. So
Mm.
no referral domains. From my perspective, I think organic, and I talk about it as more as growth, and I think of it as conversion, sorry, as acquisition of traffic, but also conversion, right? Becoming more difficult. Someone who is Danish with ChatGPT is significantly more effective than Matias, a Spanish talker.
Yeah, that's probably accurate. I suppose if you had unlimited resources like time, people, money, what would you?
I'm in a startup. I miss my days with Uber and Amex. It is a challenge. I'm relying a lot on paid media,
Mhm.
especially in Italy, because I'm not gonna daydream of getting sale. My founders are all the time asking about sale. I'm not gonna promise something that's not possible. I'm trying to work it out, but I'm not gonna promise that.
That makes sense. And I suppose what do you see is missing in those tools? Like you mentioned, brush and maybe present something, but what is missing in these tools, like SEO growth tools?
The thing for me is more and more I get into marketing. It's not about the tools, it's about the people who handle them. If you give someone who really knows SEO and has local knowledge of SEMrush, they could go. And then you can find ways of making it more efficient. But my opinion is right now, it's not so much about using a tool, it's more about how you use it. I feel like that's the challenge. Tools wise, like SEMrush, SEMrush, right? Like every time you want to do something else, boom, get me more money. Boom, get me more money. They have this arrogance, the people from SEO and SEMrush, like, I don't teach you how to do anything. Tutorials are not that great, especially for upcoming like junior people. But I mean, I've been using SEMrush for a long time. I know how to use it. I feel like it's a bit straightforward in terms of the comparison.
Mhm.
I don't trust it that much, especially with the latest news. I honestly don't trust many. I don't know what Google is doing. I'm not even have the time to take a look at really at what they're doing, but there's definitely making so many changes from a SEO perspective. I get it. They're scared. They're really scared because they're scared of AI with ChatGPT because I'm already seeing conversions and traffic coming from ChatGPT. Still, I don't think that ChatGPT is gonna make someone buy something.
Yeah, maybe I think that's true, probably. But yeah, interesting observations as well. I guess the open-ended questions are kind of ended here.